We had AEW Dynamite from the April 30th of 2025. We had an attendance of 3,794. Those respectable Dynamite numbers, you know. They filled up the whole, hard cam side. Sounds like,
The crowds
and
have been
they
hot
opened
lately. This wasn't one of those
yeah,
crowds.
no, this was one of those weeks that it was like you and I have been watching Dynamite together for a while, and it was like they had a good show, and then this week was not as good as the other weeks. They opened the show with an 8-man tag with Kenny Omega, Mike Bailey, Mark Briscoe, and Kevin Knight versus Okada, Ricochet, and the Bucks. Why they insist on putting the Bucks out on TV first, I do not know.
What? So they
But
can't claim that they had the lowest rated segment. The show, the opening segment's always the highest, so they want to say that
oh,
they were in that.
well, that makes sense. I assume that once people saw that the Bucks were in this segment, though, they very quickly, grabbed their remote control and clicked on over to something else until this was over.
They did a lot better than last week.
Yeah, the match itself actually wasn't terrible. I'm not going to sit here and go through all of the highlights of it or anything. I just will talk my opinions about it. The too much fucking coordinated moves, too much cooperation. You got like 6 guys all working together so that, 3 dudes can hit moves on 3 other dudes. The believability is at an all-time low for some of this shit. Okada looks like the Pillsbury Japanese fucking doughboy. He needs to work out. I don't know what's going on with that soggy midsection. Kenny Omega is great. Mike Bailey's pretty good. Mark Briscoe, it could be one of the biggest stars in the company if they used him right. I don't really know much about Kevin Knight, to be completely honest with you. Ricochet is doing good heel work. The in-ring, a lot of the in-ring during this match was pretty good, but the coordinated bullshit I just can't take anymore. And then the winners ended up being Ricochet, the Bucks, and Okada. Trying to find a reason to care, but I couldn't. What'd you think of all this?
I don't know. I mean, it was like, fast-paced action and all that. It was good for what it was, I guess, but overall, I'm sure that there's things that tie these guys a little bit more together than they present on camera, but I mean, they're just trying to push the fact that Kenny and Okada had good matches like 5 to 6 years ago. I'm not sure what that has to do with today. Okada, I'm not sure if AEW could. I mean, I'm sure they could have used him worse, but his run in AEW sucked. I mean, they have that tournament, the Continental Classic or whatever, that he's won 2 years in a row, but it's like he won it this year just to do nothing. Like, they never do anything with the belt or him, and his whole character is just saying bitch sometimes, and the Bucks character presence importance is like at an all-time low. It's they only work with the same people when they come back. They had already announced the next week's match. Do you remember what it was? It was the Bucks and I think Okada versus Mark Briscoe, Speedball, maybe Kenny next week. But they only,
oh no,
like, you remember when they came back from the suspension and they worked with like the Death Triangle for 7 matches in a row or something?
yeah,
Like they all, I remember they used to only work with like Penta in them for the longest time, and I don't know. I don't need to see it. The style's not for me. Every time that Kenny's involved with working with them, it drags him down to their level. Mike Bailey, I mean, he just looks like a fucking asshole. Mark Briscoe's the man. Kevin Knight seems okay so far, but I mean, it's just a whole bunch of directionless bullshit. They don't highlight the importance of anything. Like, you work with NJPW, get some fucking footage and show me parts of the fucking match and hype it up. That might happen between Kenny and Okada. At least if that's what you're gonna do. They had Ricochet and like the Bucks putting their hair over Ricochet's head, so now he has hair and he's not bald. I enjoy Ricochet these days. He's probably one of the best heels in AEW, but just a whole bunch of directionless shit that when you set your show up, like, you want to do recaps, you want to show people what happened last week, you want to explain stuff, because like what if I didn't get to watch last week, but I've been watching for the past couple years and I want to see what happened last week. I know you're going to tell me to go to YouTube and watch, but that's not how these shows work, and you want to explain importance, and you want to build a continuity in the things that you're doing. And when there's a separation and a split between what's actually going on and how you're presenting it, it's all about presentation, and it's nothing feels important. This match certainly didn't feel important. And let's go ahead and move on.
Well, and to their credit, circling back to one of the points you just made there about, filling people in about who the fuck these people are. They, we'll talk about the match that happened on Collision later, but when, they had Lady Frost come out to wrestle Toni Storm this week on Collision, they had a video package highlighting some of the stuff that she does and the way that she wrestles, like her high spots, some of her accomplishments. And it's like, there you go. That's all you got to do. Little fucking 30-second video advertising what these people can do and what they have done, and give people a reason to be like, oh yeah, they do some cool shit. Maybe I should be excited for this person. But hopefully they do more of that in the future. But they're not doing that here with some of these guys. But then the next match we get into, we've got the Ops versus Camarado, Titus, and Hawkins. And man, this is going to be a squash match from the get-go, but geez. Joe comes out, he dominates Titus early, he tags in Shibata, and they have some stiff exchanges going back and forth. Hawkins gets overwhelmed and isolated. Hobbs tags in and destroys him with lariats. Hobbs finishes it with a spine buster. Relatively quick match, I think less than 5 minutes, counting the entrances and everything. Then post-match, the Death Riders come out and they ambush the Ops, and Moxley and Joe are brawling up the ramp. Bro hits him with the Coquina clutch again, and while he's doing that, Claudio hits a neutralizer on Shibata onto the steel chair like they had done to Hook the week before, and Joe lets go of Moxley and runs back to the ring to try to help Shibata, and the Ops are already gone. Joe challenges Moxley to a steel cage match for Beach Break, which is just another episode of Dynamite.
In Chicago. There's no beach there,
yeah,
to my knowledge.
Well, I mean, there's a beach, but it's on Lake Michigan. I mean, that's not a real fucking beach.
That doesn't count.
No. And, the crowd was pretty hyped for Joe when he's telling everybody he's going to become AEW World Champion. And the Ops are great, are pretty good. I can't with the Death Riders, man. I want to like what they do, but I don't know. They found a way to devalue every guy that is in the Death Riders somehow beyond where they were already at. I don't know. What did you think of all this goofy shit?
Not a whole lot. Joe's good. His delivery's great. He can sell anything. He's a pretty believable guy. I don't like saying the Coquina clutch. I just wish it was something else. It just doesn't roll off the fucking tongue. But
isn't it just a fucking sleeper hold or the Cobra clutch? We'll just start calling it that.
Pretty much. We'll keep calling it what it is, but overall, nothing too crazy. I'm not really looking forward to seeing how Moxley slips his way out of this one and wins again, because they're just saving it for All In for the title change.
Yeah.
But overall, this wasn't too bad. You still don't even know why Moxley's doing what he's doing. Like, they haven't explained anything yet, and why is that thing in a briefcase? And it just, nothing with him really makes sense. And he's fucking terrible. He's probably like the most least talented person in wrestling today, I believe. His matches are always a pretty big letdown, and I'm not really looking forward to the match. And Joe's the man, and we'll go ahead and move on to the sit-down interview now that we had next with Mercedes Moné. Renee interviewed her. She's always doing the sit-down interviews in the back, especially with the chicks. We got the Owen Hart tournament final with Jamie Hayter. Mercedes says that this isn't about the Harts, it's about her legacy. She highlights her undefeated record and calls Jamie a less polished version of herself. The interview ends before a commercial. Not really much to say here. Mercedes running AEW has been terrible so far. Not really interested in seeing her win the women's championship. If they have her beat Tony, they're fucking idiots. They don't have anything for Tony these days. She's just in eliminator matches and just wrestling chicks with just waiting for this thing to happen, which kind of tells you everything about the finish that's going to be going on there.
Yep. Yep. It'll be she's just gonna have all the belts. You know, might as well give her the fucking dude belts too. Why not?
Take us to the next one.
But yeah, so anyway, we get backstage with Nick Wayne, Christian Cage, and Jay Lethal. And Nick Wayne is being asked about the best of the Super Juniors, and Christian interrupts before he can answer, insisting that all questions go through him. And then Jay Lethal comes up, and he's challenging Wayne for a match for his title tonight. And before Nick Wayne can say anything, Christian Cage accepts on his behalf. And Nick Wayne's looking a little irritated as Jay Lethal walks off, stoked that he's getting a title match. I like what they're doing with the patriarchy.
Same here.
Christian is a great heel. This is good
direction.
Stuff. Yep.
Christian, everything he's done in AEW for the most part's been good, except a couple small things. They tried to get him to get Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus over. I don't, but unfortunately, I don't think we're ever going to see Luchasaurus wrestle again.
Where the fuck even is that guy? Did he get hurt or something?
Got hurt, yeah. So I was slipping away. So the floors of my house are a little uneven, and I got a glass thing beneath me, and sometimes I it just goes. But anyways, yeah, no, this was some good stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing where they go. They I guess it happened on Collision or whatever. What they did with him later? No, this was the match later. Sorry, I just the whole sliding away thing got me, but. Overall, this was good direction, like I said, and move on to the next one. As the AEW Women's Title Eliminator, Toni Storm versus Miyu Yamashita. Toni won.
Speaking of what we were just talking about having her in nothing but world title eliminator matches.
Yeah, but Toni won. This match was fucking garbage. The in-ring quality wasn't that bad, but there just wasn't really anything going on here. There's no heat. Who is this? Why should I care?
Maybe somebody with a badge needed to show up and arrest the people that thought that this was the thing that they needed to put on TV.
Yeah, like, if you can't come up with something for Toni fucking Storm on your show, what are you doing? This is one of the best women in wrestling today, and this is all you fucking have for her? No. Just no. Do something good with her. This is, like, one of the highlights of your show. I think a lot of people like her more than the guys these days. I don't need to see Miyu Yamashita. There's plenty of people on your show that aren't getting any time that could like get the rub from working with Toni or actually having a program with her. So Megan Baines decided to just move on? Like, I just don't understand anything to do that's going on here. Nothing was accomplished. Nobody came out looking any better. Toni Storm just came out seeming like you don't really care about what's going on with her in the company. The Miyu, whatever, don't need to ever see them again. Don't want to see him again. Shouldn't see him again. I'm sure we will. The match opened up with a respectful handshake. Miyu controlled early with kicks. Toni Storm fired back with suplexes, but get kicks off the top rope. Post break, they trade strikes. Miyu lands a spinning back kick, near fall. Storm hits the sky high Northern Lights and then finishes with a hip attack in a Storm Zero. Post-match, Mercedes Moné appeared, vowing to win the AEW title after the Owens Cup. And then Jamie Hayter attacked Moné and stares down Storm. Storm smiles and sways to Hayter's music to close the music. Yeah, she was like dancing and stuff. That was one of the better things on the show. But tell me a little bit about what's your opinion with this whole deal.
Man, they keep throwing these matches together that have no build, make no sense. The match was serviceable. It's not like the in-ring work was bad or anything. That we just had zero reason to care about what's going on other than that we like Toni Storm. And I mean, that's not necessarily always going to be enough of a reason to make you care about what's going on. And they're not using one of the most over people in their company properly currently, but at least they're featuring her on TV every week and letting her get her shit in so that, people can tune in and at least be slightly entertained by whatever she's doing. But
the reason people cared about her is because she had a fucking really good build with Mariah May for like a year. And now that's not there, and Mariah May's gone. They obviously don't have anything for her anymore. Just no direction, man. But sorry, go ahead.
I had heard, speaking of Mariah May, I had heard that her deal's supposed to be up in like June or July, maybe.
I
So
don't know the exact date, but remember we did that short on it that I don't think anybody watched.
yeah, people that a lot of our AEW shorts and videos don't get as much viewers as our WWE shorts. I mean, that's just also how the actual shows are as well. So I mean, it
Yeah,
just is what it is.
compare the two companies' YouTube numbers, and that would probably explain why.
Right. The stare down with Jamie Hayter and Mercedes, and then she attacked Mercedes was good.
Jamie Hayter seems
I missed.
believable. You know, her delivery's
Yeah,
good. Her in-ring work's not bad. I wish her look was a little bit better. But overall, like, this is somebody that if you featured them correctly and then actually had these women uh, in great feuds, like Tony and fucking Hayter would be fucking awesome, you know?
I think
Like,
people forget how over that Jamie Hayter was
after taking
when
the thing
she
from Britt.
was injured. Yeah, I mean she went on a year long run where she was one of the main event attractions of the women's
And
division, and then she had that injury,
remember, she didn't talk then either. It's like her promos
right?
weren't good. So, like, she was just doing this based off presence and the hype of the show and how everybody just was eating everything up. But yeah, I mean, you're right. She was super fucking over. You want to move
And then
on?
she was, yeah, what she injured for like a year. But yeah,
Yeah,
anyway,
almost.
we get some backstage stuff with Don Callis and Kyle Fletcher. Callis is hyping up the Callis family dominance in the Fletcher's match versus Hangman. Fletcher said after beating Page, he's going to beat Ospreay at Double or Nothing and make him say the pro star Kyle Fletcher. I don't
Protostar.
know what the fuck that means. Proto
Superstar.
star.
Protostar. It's just a little.
Okay.
But yeah, I like
Need
the
to get
Don
my eyes
Callis.
checked.
Yeah, I like the Don Callis family. They always have him doing random shit, but Kyle Fletcher's good. You know, he's you can tell that he's out of anybody on the show that's one of the younger guys. He is putting in more work than anybody else. You can just tell.
He's in
Look
incredible
at him.
shape now too. Yeah, I mean he's versus when he came into the company versus how he looks
Compared to
now is
2
night and
months
day
ago.
difference.
And then like he's just getting fucking ripped. His promos aren't bad. I wish the Don Callis family was just him and Kyle. You
Yeah.
know that like they don't need anybody else. Drop everybody else to the fucking side, or maybe keep Takeshita too. Takeshita, Kyle, and Don. That's all you need. Those are like Takeshita's one of the best in-ring workers on the planet. He could be the best for all we know. Every time that they put him in a situation to shine, he's the fucking man. But
Yep.
but yeah, overall, you know, I always to say this, I enjoy everything that Don Callis is involved in. He can get heat. He can talk, and I don't know. They just don't ever have anything too good going on for anybody. But overall, you know, whatever. The in ring next, it's the Hurt Syndicate and MJF. MVP Lashley and Benjamin enter to "We Hurt People" chants. MVP calls for a vote on adding MJF. MVP and Shelton vote yes. And then Lashley was like teasing up and down, right? He did it for a while, and then he gave him a firm no. JF mocks Lashley and gets shoved. He like kind of like held his like face and like grabbed him and told him to prove himself and hurt somebody. The Hurt Syndicate leads of MJF considers the challenge. This whole thing's kind of weird. I figured MJF would have already like beat the shit out of these guys. MJF was delivering this promo was pretty good. MJF's getting the biggest pops on almost every show these days. The crowd was really into him. This was hands down the most hype everybody was for any point in the show, at least for chanting for somebody. You know, I like everybody involved. They can all give the same delivery, but this is like a month of the same shit. Be cool. And he Lashley tells him, but when he told him to prove himself and hurt somebody, he's gonna hurt them. I imagine. It's MJF's the man. A couple years ago, he was the biggest prospect in wrestling. I wouldn't say that now because they're not using him probably in the prominent position that they could. It should be like Will and MJF in like a fucking 6-month program or something, you know. You know, your top guys like Kenny and MJF, something, you know. But anyways, what'd you think about that? Pretty much the same thing I just said.
Yeah, I mean, all of the people. This is one of those scenarios where all of the people involved in this, it should be better than what it is. And I'm sure that the payoff will probably be pretty solid. But I don't know. Like Hurt Syndicate's over, MJF's over. I just feel like this is an odd pairing, and they should be probably doing something a little more prominent with MJF. It feels like, didn't he get hurt and come back, or did he just leave after he lost the title and come back? Yeah, it felt like
he did
ever
get
since
hurt when he
come
lost
back,
the title, but he's been back for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it just felt like he hasn't been at the same level or booked at the same level as what he was prior to that injury. You know, like his first shit back, they had him working with Roosh. Who the fuck gives a fuck about that? Nobody. Why is that guy even on our TV?
Actually, if you remember, it was a match against Hitashiro.
Who? Yeah, I don't even know who the fuck that is.
Just some random guy, pretty much. But yeah. I mean, that just tells you that they just do stuff with no plan. He didn't have to come back if you didn't have a plan for him, but that's not what we're talking about right now. After that, we'll jump to the next thing here on the show was a match for the ROH World TV title. Real quick, you've heard me say this before, but we don't need ROH titles on AEW television. It makes the actual AEW titles over there feel less important. You don't have an AEW TV title. I guess you could say it's the TNT title or whatever, but overall, this was a decent little match. My cat's coming up on me, so you might hear that. But not much to really say here. The winner was Nick Wayne. Him and Lethal wrestled here. Wayne jumped Lethal before the bell, refusing the code of honor. Lethal controls with the classic offense. Wayne regroups with Cage's help. Post break, near falls on both sides. Wayne counters late and hits a roundhouse plus a fisherman's buster combo for the win. Post match, Christian Cage puts the belt around Wayne's waist, and the patriarchy applauded. This was all right. We'll see where this goes. I'm sure this isn't the end of that, but what you think?
The fisherman's buster is actually pretty nice. And then the way that Christian snatched the belt after the match ended kind of put a sour puss look on Nick Wayne's face, but then Christian put the belt on him. This is good stuff. At some point, they're going to be doing a match with Christian and Nick Wayne, I assume. But it's way too early for that. I don't think that they need to be breaking up the patriarchy anytime soon. It's one of the better things that's going on AEW.
They should have them tag together, maybe win the belts, and then fucking they turn on Christian or something.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I always like when he makes sure to tell Nick Wayne, oh yeah, everybody celebrated your win, and your mom and I celebrated your win multiple times last night, and just different ways of telling him that he's fucking his mom.
Who are you to question me? How many world championships have you won?
Yeah. It's good shit. I mean, he's doing some of the best heel work of his career and has been for a while. Hopefully they don't find a way to fuck him up, because he's doing a lot better than anything they're doing with Adam Copeland right now.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I think he's taking a little break. He'll be back though. Remember he got beat up by FTR.
They wrote him off after the beatdown, I assume.
He's probably filming something, I imagine. Tony lets a lot of guys do their little whatever, fucking projects that they have outside of it. But after that we had the Owen Hart tournament semifinal, and it was Hangman Adam Page versus Kyle Fletcher. Hangman won. Especially like after interference and like a nut shot and other stuff. It's why even do that then if I don't know, it just doesn't really make sense to have him like do the nut shot and him still win. Like, why didn't you just have him? I don't know. But anyways, Page controlled early. Fletcher taunted, but got dropped with strikes and a lariat. Post break, Fletcher takes over with some kicks and a brain buster on the apron. Page hits a tombstone on the floor and a top rope superplex. Series of near falls. Page hits a dead eye. Fletcher lands a power bomb. Fletcher low blows Page and hits with a brain buster, but Page survives. Hangman ends it with 2 buckshot lariats for the win. This is all right. Like, the in-ring match was good enough. Kyle Fletcher's great. He should have cheated and won probably. Hangman is kind of like a at this point, like he's over with the crowds and everything, it seems. But I mean, his delivery sucks. His matches are good enough. he can put on some great matches here and there. It depends on who he's going against, but he's just kind of like a failed experiment. He's a fucking idiot. He's not really believable.
You think he still goes into business for himself on promos with guys, or is that just with Punk?
Probably just with Punk, but he's just not believable. His character stinks. I don't really understand his gimmick. He's always super just strange. He needs to like do something with his hair, maybe work out a little bit more too. Just I don't know, this whole tough guy persona. It's just I'm not buying it.
A fake tough cowboy.
Yeah, he's definitely not a fucking cowboy.
Nope.
Got anything to add to that?
Yes. Fuck Adam Page.
Oh yeah. That's about it.
Yeah. Get this goof off of my fucking TV ASAP.
But yeah, overall, like this really wasn't that great of a show. I don't know what rating you give it or whatever, but it was making me not want to fucking pay attention to it. Just the pacing was not great. The matches just kind of all over the place. There was some good stuff here and there, like every AEW show has, but you know, overall, for the most part, the guys that you see on the show aren't the ones you want to see, and the guys in the prominent positions are probably the guys that shouldn't be there. Kind of proven at this point that you can't really grow a company with the young bucks, you know, in prominent positions on it. But you know, that's a topic for about every time we see him. I guess it's nothing new, and if you like the Bucks, that's great. You know, keep watching them. But you know, it's just a proven fact that you know they haven't done anything in the past 4 years in AEW but shrink the company, and they're just not somebody that you can really grow a wrestling company with, it seems. And we'll go ahead and move on, and unless you got anything to add. And just
they need to send those motherfuckers back to TNA wrestling, and they can go back to being Generation Me, because at least I'm not watching TNA.
TNA wouldn't even take them. What are they going to do?
Yeah, probably
they can't afford them. And what would the Bucks bring for TNA's bottom line? Nothing. You know, they wouldn't.
That's true.
They wouldn't bring in more viewership or attendance or sell merch for TNA. I mean, I guess they'd sell some, but overall, they're not doing it for AEW. Why would they do it for TNA?